We now turn our attention to NHL ice hockey, the 2018 Stanley Cup. We'll be looking to find the value in the outright betting market, the futures, to work out which teams present the best value with regards to selecting the winner of the Stanley Cup 2018. If we look at the market, we can see Nashville Predators are the favourite at 4-1. Nashville, who have been solid all season, I think they're worthy favourites. Statistically, they've been strong. Their numbers on the power play are good. Solid, experienced and balanced side. You've got Ellis, you've got Philip Forsberg, Pekka Rinne in net, PK Subban. So they've got the players. They've got a solid team. Just good in defence, good going forward. Very balanced. They also traded in Turris, who's been a great addition. They did well last year. They've got recent form of doing well in the playoffs. So they're a worthy 4-1. I don't think it presents huge value. I think that price is probably about right. Could have been 5-1 maybe. I wouldn't have anything negative to say about anyone betting on Nashville because they have a good chance of winning. They're a worthy favourite. We've got Tampa Bay Lightning 5-1. So they've been fancied all season. They've been short in the betting all season. I think they've been 15-2 or 6-1 for a lot of the season, even going back months as a favourite. They've been wonderful offensively. Nikita Kucherov has had an impressive season, as usual, really. He's been their main talisman, and they're still well fancied. If we look at their side, we'd say that they are very strong offensively, maybe defensively. They're not as strong as they are going forward. We've got Vasilevsky in net. He's done reasonably well. We've got other good players in the side, Braden Point, Killorn. I'm not sure about their experience in playoffs. I can't remember them doing particularly well in playoffs recently, but they have looked good. I think the price is a little bit on the short side at 5-1. I would have it a little bit more, maybe 8-1, 15-2. So I don't think it presents huge value, but they are definitely one of the contenders. And with a player like Kucherov leading their charge, that you can't look past them. They're dangerous. They're currently 2-1 up, I think, on the New Jersey Devils in the season. And the playoffs have obviously started. And so, the odds have been adjusted, bearing in mind how matches are going at the moment in the playoffs. They have got the edge on the New Jersey Devils at the minute at 2-1 up. So, that's enough said on them. 5-1. We've got Boston Bruins 11-2. Solid team. Always expect a lot from them. Quality players. They've been generally in good form. They're definitely one of the contenders. If we look at their side, they've got the likes. Well, up front, they've got Brad Marchand, who's a tremendous player. He's very skillful. He's someone who they can rely on to get them a goal when they need it. He's someone who has been reliable all season, and he could be someone who fires them towards a Stanley Cup victory. That 11-2 in the betting, again, I think is a fair enough number. It could have been a little bit higher. I think they're a good team, Boston. We've also got Pasternak, Bergeron. They've got good players, experienced players. Rask in net is tremendous, Tuukka Rask. 11-2, I would have liked a little bit more, maybe 6-1. But it's a fair number. If you like the Bruins, go for it. 11-2, fair enough. Vegas Golden Knights, they're at 6-1. Just a tremendous season, awesome at home. Marc-Andre Fleury has been tremendous. When the Penguins let him go, I sort of got the feeling that he might have had his best days. Well, that's obviously not the case, because this season he's just been absolutely unstoppable. He's been tremendous in net, and it's been one of the reasons why Vegas have been so successful this season. Just an awesome home record. Carlson's been good for them. I think the fans have got into it, obviously, being a new franchise and them doing so well. Everyone's had Vegas as their sort of second team this season. I was waiting for the bubble to burst, but it just never did. They just had a tremendous season. Their home record, brilliant. And now it makes me worry about saying anything negative about them in terms of the Stanley Cup. For me, they don't have the experience. It takes nous, it takes grit, it takes competitiveness. It's nice if you've been in the playoffs and done well in the past or in the recent history, so you can lean on that experience and maybe bite down and put in a bit more grit and a bit more effort when you need it. Maybe if you're down in a playoff series or down in a game. So I think they lack that. What can they do about that? Nothing. They're a new franchise. You've got to give them all the credit in the world for how well they've done. I think 6-1 is a bit on the short side, to cut a long story short. I think it could be a bit more. I would have it sort of 8-1. But the bookies are just staying on the right side of them because every question that's been asked of them, they've answered it this season. So, and obviously, I'm sure money's come for them. And people will have known they've done well this year. So it's been big in the press how well Vegas have done. So, it's no surprise the bookies have had to limit their exposure and they've cut them to 6-1. It's a bit short for me, but do they have a chance of winning the Stanley Cup? Not in my opinion. I think they could go far, but I'm not sure they can win it. Even reaching the final, they haven't got that experience. But let's see. They've been proving me wrong all season. They've been proving all the naysayers wrong. They've done everything right. So let's see how they go. 6-1. Pittsburgh Penguins 9-1. This is one I like because they tick the boxes of everything I want from a Stanley Cup side. They've won recently. They've got that competitiveness. They've got the star players, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Kessel, Gensel, Matt Murray. Their team is full of stars. They've got the expectation to win. They've got that winning feeling. They're a winning franchise. That's what they do. They've won recently. They're the defending champions. I think 9-1's a good number. If you look at the other numbers I've given so far for Vegas, Boston, Tampa, Nashville Predators, to have Penguins out quite a bit more than them out at 9-1, I think it's worth a look. And certainly each way where you get half the odds should they get to the final. Even if they lose in the final, you're getting 4.5-1. So that ain't bad. You've got to look at that. I've bet on them before. I think I got 14-1 a little while ago. I think at 9-1 there's still a shade of value there. I would have had Pittsburgh certainly, 7-1, something like that. They haven't been as impressive as they have been in the past in regular seasons. They've been dominant in regular seasons. But I kind of got the impression looking at their results that they weren't as strong as they were last year. But it doesn't matter. You get to the playoffs and then the real work starts. And Pittsburgh Penguins have got the tools and they've got the experience. They've got the players. They've got the nous to get through and get it done. So at 9-1, don't doubt them. I would have a go. I've already bet on them. So one good price, I think, 9-1. Winnipeg Jets 10-1. I think it's a fair enough number. I would have maybe liked 12 on them. Very good offensively. Patrick Laine, what a talent. They've just played well going forward all season. There's question marks about their defence. They're up against Minnesota Wild. They're 2-1 up in the series, so they've got the edge as far as that series goes. Connor Hellebuyck in net. I think he was pulled recently, but he's been restored to the net for the next game against Minnesota Wild. But he's a good goaltender. They're very quick. Have they got that nous and experience, that recent experience of doing well in the playoffs? I'm not sure about that. I don't think they do. But they're a tremendous team. If they can get their brain in gear, knuckle down on their defence, and play well defensively, they've definitely got a chance because they always rack up goals. They're always dangerous going forward. So that's the Winnipeg Jets, 10-1. San Jose Sharks got a 10-1. They're 3-0 up against the Anaheim Ducks in the season, so they're more or less considered as having gone through already. Good players, Brent Burns. They've got Pavelski there, Kane. They're a good team. They're solid defensively. They're very experienced. They've got playoff experience as well. They've gone deep in the playoffs in recent years. But I don't know, that price, something about it tells me it's slightly on the short side. It's another one I would like to have seen a 12-1. They're down at 10. Do they have a chance? Yes. Do I think they'll win the Stanley Cup? I'm not so sure. The next one, we've got the Columbus Blue Jackets 13-1, which I think there is a bit of value in that price. They're very good as a team. Their coach Tortorella has got them together playing well. They're reasonable enough going forward. I mean, they're not an amazingly great offensive side, but they're decent enough. And more importantly, when they knuckle down on defence with Bobrovsky in between the pipes, they can do very well and prevent the opposition from scoring goals. I think 13 is a little bit of value there. I would have seen them down at these prices that San Jose and Winnipeg have got, sort of 10-1. So 13, worth a go. They're up on the Capitals in their series, so probably worth a look. Maybe a shade of value in there. Next in the betting, Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they're currently 2-1 down to the Bruins in their series. Young team, Austin Matthews, what a superstar, what a great player. Mike Babcock leading them. I think they're a team where they're so young, it could be just a year too early. I think they're going to be dangerous in the next couple of years. They're out at 25-1 simply because the Bruins are leading them in their series and the Bruins are fancied to progress. But 25-1, if you fancy them to wake up against the Bruins and pull off a shock, they're currently behind in the series. It's not a bad number. It might be worth a look. It's not one for me, but it's not ridiculous. That's a very talented team, Toronto Maple Leafs. Very talented young team. We've got Washington Capitals down in the series at the moment to Columbus. Just never, ever performed in the playoffs. They're always tremendous in the regular season. Alex Ovechkin, legend. We don't need to say too much about that. He's probably the leading scorer this year 40 to 50 goals, just a Hall of Famer, just a wonderful player. Backstrom, TJ Oshie, Kuznetsov, Braden Holtby between the pipes. Again, they've got the superstar names, but again, we doubt them because they do well in the regular season and not so well in the playoffs. Never won a Stanley Cup. They're behind. They're going to have to knuckle down to overturn a deficit against the Columbus Blue Jackets if they're going to progress. But 33 to 1, it's not a bad price if you think, because they can do it. They have the tools. It will take Barry Trotz, marshalling them and bringing them together, and maybe Alex Ovechkin, having a word with the dressing room with all his experience and all his star quality and saying, look, we've got to wake up one of these years. 33 to 1, it's an interesting price, I'd say. Minnesota Wild 35 to 1, they're down in their series. Winnipeg Jets are fancy to get past them. I think they've had a tremendous home record all season. Niederreiter, Stahl, they've got good players. To do as well as they have done at home this season, you have to have good players. Devon Dubnyk is reasonable enough in goal. I think they're good enough defensively. Are they going to get past the Winnipeg Jets, though? A lot of people have written them off in that series. They're 2-1 down. I've always liked Minnesota this season. I've always liked to support them at home, to bet on them at home when they're playing on other teams because they've had a good record all season. They're out at 35 to 1. It's worth a look. I'm not sure I'm confident enough to assume they're going to fight back against Winnipeg and get through. That's the only reason I wouldn't take it, but it's not an unreasonable number. We've got the New Jersey Devils at 45 to 1 next in the betting. I think they're at that price now because Tampa are expected to beat them. Tampa are 2-1 up in the series. They've gone for Corey Schneider in net now. He's replacing Kincaid. They've done well. They've been strong. They're a strong home team. I think they're playing at home in their next match against Tampa. They'll have to win that if they want to have a serious chance of winning that game. I think that's a big number if you like them, 45 to 1. I don't think they'll win the Stanley Cup, but they do have tools, they do have weapons. A lot will depend on Schneider. I think his last 12 starts, he's lost all 12. So, those games have lost where he's played, but he's well rested. Maybe he'll come back and he's been brought in for a reason. Maybe he's raring to go and he'll turn things around for them. So that's the New Jersey Devils, 45 to 1. Philadelphia Flyers, 60 to 1. They're down in the series against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The thing about the Flyers, they've got a very solid team whereby they've been together a long time. Couturier, Gostit-Spear, Giroux, Wayne Simmons. These are good players. They've been together a long time. Question marks about them sometimes defensively. They're involved in a lot of shootouts, high goal shootouts. And playoff experience recently hasn't been, it's been a bit lacking. I expect the Penguins to get past them. They're around at 60 to 1. I think that's basically because people think the Penguins are going to win. I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion because the Flyers, when they turn up, they're dangerous. But I think Pittsburgh should get past them. So that's not one I'll bet on. Other ones to look at, Colorado Avalanche, 66 to 1. Nathan McKinnon, Landeskog. Good team. Very good considering last year where they were the whipping boys of the league. But I don't think they'll be winning the Stanley Cup. They're at 66 to 1. I want to give them their due respect though, because they're in against Nashville, which is a tough game, and they're putting on a decent show against them. They have been able to. They've had no trouble entering the offensive zone against the Nashville Predators, which shows they've got something about them. But I don't think they'll be winning the Stanley Cup this year. Rantanen, McKinnon, Landeskog. They've had a good year. They're a good team, but I think Nashville will just prove too strong for them. So I don't think the 66 to 1 is going to return anything. LA Kings are 125 to 1. They're down in their series. Anaheim Ducks are 125 to 1. Bit disappointed about Anaheim because they're always an unfancied team. They're a bit unfashionable. Very good defensively. They've got good players. Getzlav, Raquel, Perry. I always like to look at them because you tend to get value. They're not fashionable. Not everyone bets on them, But they're a pretty good team. They're a competent team. But it looks like they're too far behind now. They're 3-0 down. They haven't shown up in this series. And it looks like they're out. So I think that's probably it for Anaheim this year. 125 to 1. San Jose have just put it on them. And I think that's it for them. LA Kings, similar situation. Vegas Golden Knights are 3-0 up on them. They're in trouble. They've got Doughty. They've got Jeff Carter. very solid defensive side, but it's just not happened for them in the playoffs this year, and Vegas have been wiping the floor with them. So it looks like Vegas are going to proceed. So that's why they're out at 125 to 1. So, to summarise, basically I would say Nashville Predators are a worthy favourite at 4 to 1. There'd be someone I'd be looking to back. The price isn't great, but I think they just have a balanced, solid team. We've got the Penguins at 9 to 1. I think that's actually value. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are value. Those are two I'd look at as value plays. The Penguins 9 to 1, Columbus 13 to 1. But also, if I was going to have a Hail Mary selection, going against the grain and trying to take a big number for a miracle, I'd be looking at the Washington Capitals, who, if they, wake up against Columbus, they could turn it on. They've got the players to do so. 33 to 1 is a big number. But they'll have to come to their senses quickly. So we've had a quick rundown on all the numbers, all the odds available on all the teams that are currently in the Stanley Cup. I've had my say. I'd like to hear your opinions. I'd like you to have your say in the comments. Certainly like and subscribe if you haven't already. It's been a great playoff so far. It's going to be a great Stanley Cup generally. Enjoy the hockey, and I'll see you next time.